Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. I'm Jim. Here's a RV10 update for you. I've been working on the panel trying to get stuff located. There's the transponder tray kind of hanging below the right hand screen. It's remote, so it doesn't need to come through the panel. Of course, I think you've seen if you're following along, you've seen the radio stack. That's going to be audio panel. Then the GTX 650 Navcom, and below that is the autopilot, goes in that bottom part of that. The left primary screen, the G5 is over here, and what I really recently been working on is getting all these auxiliary things mounted. Here's the ARINC module over here. The COM2 radio is also remote, and it's mounted on the back side or forward side of the sub panel. I've been working on the doubler plate that's going to go in here. I'll have to remove 3 rivets out of this bracket. There's the doubler plate I'm working on. And then over here, a few more things that are mounted. Back in behind there is the engine analyzer box. It seems like there's 1 or 2 more boxes. I've got the battery. I've got a battery backup system, and I think it goes in here. It's that. It's this thingamajig here. It goes right in there like that. Actually, it'll go the other way, but and I'm not sure. I don't remember if it goes on the front or the back, but that's roughly where that goes. And I think I have some fuse blocks around here. I'm going to use standard automotive style fuse blocks like I did on my RV6, and I haven't found one yet, but I need to get that mounted somewhere. I'm probably going to put it on a hinge so it'll flop down and make it easier to get to. It will not be accessible in flight, so if fuse blows, that's just it. Land and troubleshoot it. There's the doubler plate, and I'll try and get a different shot of this probably in a future update. It's standing up, of course, the way it is now. I've been moving it around a lot. And what I also wanted to show today, this is going to be a little bit longer video than normal. I like to call him my friend. I call a lot of guys on the internet and my friend who don't know that I do that, but I watch Ox Tool. It's Tom Lipton. He's a machinist out in the Bay Area in California, and have a lot of respect for him, and I enjoy watching his videos. He does lots of interesting stuff, and a lot of it I don't make use of. I'm just a hobby machinist, but he does almost every video that he does. I'll pick up some little tip, a machining style thing that helps me in the shop. What he did today, part of his Monday Night Meatloaf, was talk about an air hose that he found, and I wanted to show what I use and why I like it. Of course, I do a lot of sheet metal work and aviation type stuff, so I'm working with aluminum primarily. So I need air tools for drilling, so it turns high RPM. And then I use a lot of other air tools also. One of the biggest things that I dislike on standard air tools, and this is a standard air hose. I have a lot of this just because I use a lot of air hose. Sometimes I'll do a project, a household type project where I use a pneumatic nailer or something. So I run a long air hose to get to that project instead of carrying a portable or a tank or something. But the problem with standard air hose, typically, and I almost never use it directly to a tool, is that it's too heavy and rigid. And part of what his new hose that he found, it's a real lightweight, flexible hose, which looks great, but it still had a really big strain relief on it. And a standard, it wasn't really standard, it had some special release on it, but big, heavy strain relief and long, so it won't flex very good here. And here's the hose that I use. I got this from Cleveland Aircraft Tool. I don't know that they're making it. They might be making this, or maybe they're getting it somewhere. But it's a lightweight, flexible hose. It almost looks like the hose you would have like maybe on your sink sprayer that you pull out of the sink. But it's a high pressure, 275 PSI. It's a real small ID, which is not good if you're going to run like an impact wrench. You need more volume than this hose would allow. It's very restrictive as far as volume. But for 99% of what I use and what most people probably would use air hose for, you don't need the volume unless you're taking wheels off all the time. When I started out, this when you do a rivet gun, which I don't have laying here, pneumatic, yeah, there it is right there, pneumatic rivet gun, you need some sort of an air restrictor so that you can control the beats per minute that the gun puts out, so that you get it set properly for the size of rivet that you're doing. And here's the swivel restrictor that has an adjustment knob there that I used to use when I first started, but these always leak. There's probably an O-ring in there or something. They leak, and they're just, you would plug that in with a fitting, of course, to standard air hose. They leak, and that you're still dealing with the big heavy air hose. The neat thing about this stuff is that it's so light and flexible, it makes it almost like you don't know you're hooked up to an air hose. That's what you want when you're doing real fine work with a drill, especially trying to get into tight places and corners and stuff. So you notice here that I don't have a swivel on the end of this drill. It just snaps straight on there, which it pushes straight on. You don't need I could probably do this one-handed maybe. No, I can't. Anyway, it would push straight on, and then you pull the collar back to get it off. But so this is the pneumatic squeezer. It's got its own pivot there, and then of course the hose will rotate, so you kind of get 2 degrees of freedom from that. It works really good. I'm sure that it's not perfect. The volume thing would be a concern, but for most of what I do, that's really critical to have a lightweight piece of hose. And you just use that short extension, then it plugs in. And you can see here, I use this on the weekends out in the other garage when we race, so you can use it to blow off dirt. So I have just standard fittings on 2 different compressors, and then I just use this little extension conversion to do that. Just plugs into standard fitting, and then you got the fast fitting here. These are the little fittings that you need if you're going to use this system. It comes with that crimped on, and I think it probably comes with a standard fitting crimped on there. I don't know, but Cleveland Aircraft Tools where I got it, if you're wanting to look for that. If anybody's really interested and you can't find it, let me know. I can find a link for you. But that's what I use, and that's where I'm at on the project. If you got questions, one of the things Tom's doing on his videos, which I like, he's kind of changed his intro a little bit, and one of the comments or statements that he makes at the intro is that he works at a lab, a government lab, supporting scientists that are doing research, and so he's doing all kinds of different machining and tooling type things to support the researchers. But what he says when he's at his home shop, part of what his goal is, I guess, is to give back to the machining community. And I kind of feel like I hope I'm doing that to some degree with airplane builders, especially RV builders. So if you got questions or comments or something you think I can help you with, I'd be happy to do it. And I had an old guy, a friend of mine, that helped me build my 6. He did a lot of my cowling work and the spinner and stuff. He would work on that while I was doing wiring, and he's passed away now about 10 years ago. And he was kind of my mentor, and I'd like to try to give something back. Remember, looking at this stuff, don't just do it exactly like I do it, because I make lots of mistakes. So if you think, well, I wonder if this will fit here or there on your project, shoot me a message on YouTube, or I can send you an email, and I'll try and help if I can. I'd love to be able to do that, to give something back, kind of like Tom's doing with the machining. That's it for now. See you next time.